Hey there, history buffs! Are you ready to dive into one of the most exciting periods in American history? Let's journey back to the 1700s, a time when America was just a bunch of colonies ruled by King George III of England. Picture bustling colonial streets and the distant rule of a monarch across the ocean. Imagine being told what to do from across an entire ocean. Not cool, right? The frustration was palpable, and the colonists were growing increasingly restless. Well, the colonists thought so too. And that's where our story begins. They started gathering, discussing and planning the next moves. Between 1775 and 1783, these brave colonists decided they'd had enough. They took up arms and fought for their freedom in what would become the American Revolution. They were tired of unfair taxes and wanted the freedom to govern themselves. The famous cry of "no taxation without representation" echoed through the colonies. What started as whispers of discontent soon turned into a full-blown revolution, the American Revolution. It was a time of great upheaval and incredible bravery. This wasn't just about taxes, though. It was about much more than that. It was about big ideas like liberty, equality, and the right to representation. These were revolutionary concepts that would change the world. It was about forging a new path, one where people had a say in their own destiny. The dream of a nation where everyone had a voice was taking shape. So buckle up, because things are about to get revolutionary. We're about to witness the birth of a nation and the dawn of a new era. Now, King George wasn't exactly known for his generosity. He was a ruler who believed in the absolute power of the monarchy and saw the American colonies as a mere extension of his kingdom, a source of revenue to fund his grand ambitions. He saw the colonies as a way to make money, imposing taxes on everything from tea to stamps. These taxes were not just minor fees, they were significant burdens on the everyday lives of the colonists, affecting their businesses and personal correspondence. Imagine having to pay a tax just to send a letter to your friend. The colonists were furious. They felt these taxes were unfair and unjust, especially since they had no say in the matter. They coined the phrase, "no taxation without representation," because they had no voice in the British Parliament. This slogan became a rallying cry, symbolising their demand for a fair and just system where they could have a say in how they were governed. It was like having your parents spend all your allowance without letting you have a say in how it's used. The colonists felt like children being controlled by a distant parent who didn't understand their needs or concerns.
One event that really got under the colonists' skin was the Boston Tea Party in 1773. This wasn't just a minor protest, it was a bold and daring act of rebellion. To protest a tea tax, a group of colonists disguised themselves as Native Americans and dumped 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor. This act was a direct challenge to British authority and a statement of their refusal to be oppressed. Talk about making a statement. The Boston Tea Party was a turning point, showing the British that the colonists were willing to take drastic measures to defend their rights.
This act of defiance showed King George that the colonists were serious about their demands. It was a clear message that they would not back down easily. The tension was building, and it wouldn't be long before things reached a breaking point. The stage was set for a larger conflict, one that would eventually lead to the birth of a new nation. The simmering tensions finally boiled over in 1775 in a little town called Lexington, Massachusetts. This small town would soon become the stage for a monumental event in history. British troops and colonial militiamen faced off in a battle that would mark the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. The air was thick with anticipation and fear as both sides prepared for the inevitable clash.
While the first shots of the war were fired in Lexington, the fight continued in Concord, where the colonists forced the British to retreat. The determination of the colonial forces was evident as they chased the British troops back to Boston.
The shot heard round the world wasn't just a gunshot, it was a symbol of defiance that resonated far beyond the borders of the colonies. This single act of rebellion echoed through time, inspiring future generations to stand up for their rights. These early battles showed the world that the colonists were willing to fight for their freedom. Their courage and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds were a testament to their unyielding spirit. They were outnumbered, and outgunned, but they were determined to stand their ground against British rule. Their resolve was unshakable, and their desire for independence burned brightly. The fight for independence had begun. This was just the beginning of a long and arduous journey towards freedom, a journey that would ultimately shape the future of a new nation. In 1776, a group of colonial leaders gathered in Philadelphia to make a bold decision. They were breaking up with England.
Thomas Jefferson, a young Virginian with a knack for words, was tasked with writing the breakup letter. That breakup letter became known as the Declaration of Independence, a powerful document that declared the colony's right to be free and independent states. It stated that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
The signing of the Declaration of Independence was a pivotal moment in American history. It was a formal declaration of war and a commitment to building a new nation based on the principles of freedom and self-governance.